What's up, guys? This is your boy James, aka 68J, coming to you on this Friday evening to be exact, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, guys. Super excited as we have one hell of a show for you guys today. Our second show of the day, hanging out with the Crypto for Life family. Huh? Chicken 415 first on the scene. Appreciate you in a major way, my brother. Silver Days XRP. Let's go. We got Fishing with Camo Joe in the house. Yo. What's up, my brother? Marvin Davis. That's my dog right there. Marvin, the man, the myth, the legend, Davis is in the house. What's up, Fishing with Camo? Good to see you, my brother. Guys, we got one hell of a show. Let's get right into it. Market cap, $2.98 trillion. Still down about 1.02. No, actually about 2.02 trillion from Brad Garland House, end of the year, 5 trillion. But you guys, look, there's different variables that obviously played out that wasn't in the crypto market's favor or in that price prediction or market prediction favor with the shutdown, with tariffs and many other things. But we're going to talk about that and much more. The train has left the station. We're going to get right into it, guys. Everything is pretty much where it's at. Bitcoin's still hovering around that 88, 87, 9,000, that kind of range. So, barely flirting with 88,000, guys, as you guys can see. We got Ethereum right now at 2,900. We got BNB 853, XRP between $1.90 and 91.92, somewhere in there. Solana right now 125 some change. TRX right now doing the thing at 28 cents, guys. Everything else is pretty much the same. Boring. Somebody poked the crypto market. Let's get right into it. So, guys, we're not going to get too much into it. Everything is pretty much the same. Not a whole lot to talk about. Nothing's really doing anything. We're kind of red in some areas, green in others. The market's been kind of like, in that sideways motion. No gains, no massive losses as of yet. But obviously, there has been a lot of liquidation over the past 24 hours in this entirety. So let's get right into it. We've got, let's see. By the way, guys, if you guys don't know, we are live right now on X, on YouTube, and on IMUTV. Shouts out to my brothers Niall and Rob over at IMUTV doing big things, guys. If you have a Roku TV, you can check us out live right now on IMUTV. All you got to do is download the app. And we're going to be coming to Apple TV very soon with some of the partnerships that they got going on. Let's get right into it. All right, guys, you deserve someone who chooses you every day, not just when it's convenient for them. That's a fact, huh? That is a bona fide fact. BlackRock, BlackRock, XRP, Ripple, what's going on? Confirmed. If you guys want more information on that, make sure you guys go check it out. My man Smoke shares this right here where it shows, it says expert connects the dots between Ripple, XRP, and BlackRock, talking about some of the due diligence that Smoke had done. If you guys want more information, make sure you guys go check this out. A lot of great stuff that Smoke puts out along with documentation. Documentation beats conversation every day of the week. Shouts out to Jose in the house. We got Real Canal Life up in here. Anthony the Man, the Myth, the Wanner, sitting on the beach, huh? Next to our house. I gotta love it. All set for Christmas and New Year's. Best wishes to the whole C4L family. You damn straight. Shouts out, my brother. Comparison will kill you. Always be you. Don't compare yourself to nobody. We talk about that all the time on the show. There's only one of you. Huh? You're one in a million, one in a billion, one in a trillion. There's only one. Don't compare yourself to anyone else. That's a fact. Happy holidays, baby. XRP style. Happy holidays, XRP style. Let's check it out. Woo! Gotta love that little globe there, huh? From the Crypto for Life family, you damn straight. Greatest family on planet Earth. Let's keep it going. Wealth is a tool, not a character trait. Stay authentic. Value integrity over income. Build relationships, not bank accounts. True worth is measured by your impact, not your income or your worth. Woo! Man, did y'all hear that? Those are bars right there, huh? Wealth is a tool, not a character trait. Money only magnifies who you are. If you're an a-hole, you're going to be an a-hole with money. If you're a good-hearted person, you're going to be a good-hearted person with money. I was just talking to someone about that today. Stay authentic. Value integrity over income, over any money. Integrity. Huh? Never sacrifice it for growth. Build relationships, not bank accounts. Huh? Having money, of course you're going to put in the bank account. Build relationships. True worth is measured by your impact. Your impact. What you're giving back. How do you affect people? How do you love people? One of the things I was told a long time ago when I was first being trained in speaking and connecting and building relationships is people want to know that you care more than they want to know what you know. That's a fact. People want to know that you care more than they want to know what you know. That's a fact. Everyone's got a damn opinion. Everyone's got a damn opinion. Not everyone cares. That's a fact. Let's move on. The XRP ETFs revealing a smoking gun. Whoa. Chad Steingraber puts this out. It says, comparing the XRP ETFs to the actual crypto market starts painting an interesting picture that leads to a wild possibility. The ETFs did 60 million in volume, which will likely lead to roughly 30 million worth of XRP to be purchased. That net inflow is half the total value. Over the past 24 hours, what did the crypto market do? XRP is 1.45 billion in total volume. The 24-hour XRP net inflows after that 1.5 billion are a very small 26.41 million. On a consistent basis, that's not normal to have that big a volume with such tight net margins. This makes the ETF the largest buyer of XRP, taken off the market. But why? In the crypto market, like that, is there such a small spread of inflows over a massive amount of volume? Surely the net flows should be much larger if it was natural like the ETFs. Uh-oh, what is he getting at? Smoking gun? Ask yourself this question. How do crypto exchanges make all their money? Uh-oh, trading fees. Huh? What would be their motivation then? Question mark. Trade as much as possible, as fast as possible. In this case, keep the price stable to prevent supply shock. Interesting take. The ETFs are revealing a smoking gun on the crypto exchanges. Again, to judge how well the XRP ETFs are doing, it is comparing them to the actual crypto market. You need 3.5 months. There you go. September 1st to today. The entire crypto market to match what 21 shares TOXR did in 1 week of net inflows. And XRP are locked up. Okay. Interesting perspective from my man, Chad Steingraber. All right, guys, we got more to talk about. Now, what I want to do, guys, before we get it, let me see, where did I put, now, I'm actually going to show this. I saw this, obviously, Dr. Camelia Stevenson has been going viral with some of the things. She's got some really good points, and we're going to go over those points here in just a minute. Through discipline comes freedom. I do agree with that. Tara puts this out. Even though it was a couple of days, it's still very relevant today. It says, can't say I didn't warn you. Ripple XRP, Bitcoin did not reach support yet, which is targeting exactly 83.6 thousand, hoping XRP is going to hold this level exactly at $1.88. It didn't. Well, it's there now, but it did kind of go past that when she had posted it. So it actually went down and came back up. So you could call that a wick if you want. Wick down and then came back up. This is going to get super volatile. Be careful. You know you're a nerd when you take your laptop to the gym. That's funny. You got to sometimes put that damn laptop down. That's for sure. Shouts out to Jose. Shouts out to a Real Canal Life. Appreciate you guys in a major way. Make sure you hit the like, subscribe, notification bell. Let's keep it going. Broke folks blame fate. Rich folks build systems. Pick one. That's a fact. Stack It Up by Crypto Tales, guys. One of the most legendary songs on planet Earth. Huh? Remember this quote? They don't want you to get rich, but die trying. You damn straight. Make sure you guys go check out the video. You don't need more time, just more focus. Now, I want to get into Dr. Camelia Stevenson dropping XRP bars. Now, guys, here's the link if you want to click on that, but I actually opened it up. Let's check out what some of the things she's talking about that contributes to my theme today, which is the train has left the station. Let's keep it going.
Camila Stevenson, and around here we talk wealth, and today I want to clear up a misunderstanding about XRP. You see, there's some people that are not wrong about XRP. They're just using the wrong mental category to understand it. They're asking trading questions about something that was never designed to behave like a trade. And when you misclassify an asset, every conclusion that follows is going to feel confusing. Right. So instead of arguing about price or timing or when it finally moves, I want to show you why people keep misunderstanding what XRP actually is and why that misunderstanding is the real reason so many people feel stuck or impatient right now.
Listen in, guys. Dr. Camelia Stevenson is dropping bars.
Now, before we start, this is not financial advice. This is education and perspective so you can think more clearly about what you're watching on the charts. And if you like this kind of breakdown that helps you see things more clearly, go ahead and hit that like button and please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already and drop a comment below. I'm curious, do you think about XRP more like a trade or more like a long-term system asset? Now, one of the biggest mistakes that people make in markets is evaluating things with the wrong framework. We do this all the time in life. You wouldn't evaluate a highway the same way you evaluate a coffee shop. You wouldn't judge a power grid the same way you judge a startup. And you wouldn't assess financial infrastructure the same way you assess a speculative asset. But that's exactly what's happening with XRP. Most people are trying to understand it using tools that were never meant for what it actually does. So before we talk about price or future potential or adoption, we have to fix the category error first, because
Pay attention, guys. She's dropping bars. Let's go.
once the category changes, the way everything else makes sense changes with it.
That's right.
Now, here is the category error most people are making, and it is the core issue. XRP keeps getting evaluated as if it's a stock or
Facts. Pay attention.
a growth asset or something that you buy hoping management decisions push the price higher. But XRP isn't a claim on a company. Owning XRP doesn't mean that you own Ripple, you're entitled to profits, you benefit from quarterly earnings, or that the asset's value depend on corporate performance. Ripple could have a great year or a completely terrible year, and XRP would still exist.
Bars. Guys, pay attention. Make sure you hit the like, subscribe, notification bell. Shouts out to the strategists. Appreciate all you guys for being here. Let's do this. We got a hell of a show.
That alone tells you it belongs in a different category. XRP is not an equity. It's not a business. It's not ownership. It is a functional asset. Its value isn't derived from revenue. It's derived from what it enables inside a system. And that's where most people lose the thread, because systems don't care about narratives. They care about speed, reliability, capacity, and what happens when volume increases. That's how infrastructure is evaluated.
Correct.
So when someone asks, why hasn't the price moved yet? I keep saying what they really are asking is a consumer question and something that was built to solve system level problems. And until that distinction clicks, XRP will continue to feel confusing, not because it doesn't make sense, but because it's being looked at through the wrong lens. Now,
if you guys get a chance real quick, guys, we are showing right now as we start our show, Dr. Kamalia Stevenson. Lady's got a wealth of knowledge, very, very brilliant. And what she's talking about right now is why XRP could be repriced. Banks aren't trading it. Lock in.
Once you fix the category, the next thing to understand is how systems define value.
Right.
Retail tends to think about value in terms of price movement. That's why we're seeing so much frustration. And the frustration continues as the price go down.
Right.
But I want you to understand how institutions think about value in terms of capability. They're not asking, can this go up 20% this quarter? What they're asking instead is, can this move value when volume spikes?
Right.
Can it settle without friction? Can it operate when other rails are stressed? And does it reduce uncertainty or add to it?
Right.
That is the lens. Large financial systems don't break because an asset gets volatile. They break because money stops moving efficiently. And this includes settlement slowing down, liquidity fragments, counterparty risk starts to increase, and suddenly things that worked fine yesterday don't work at scale today.
Right.
That's when value gets redefined. Assets that reduce friction becomes more valuable, and assets that introduce delay become liabilities.
Right.
This is why infrastructure doesn't reprice the same way consumer assets do. It doesn't move because of excitement. It moves because of necessity, and necessity doesn't announce itself. It shows up in how systems are built, tested, and integrated. Right. And might I add, this is also why price is often the last thing to change, because before price moves, you're actually going to see access being created, rails being tested, legal questions being resolved, and integration happening behind the scenes.
Behind the scenes, guys. Shouts out to the greatest family on planet Earth. I want to bring some value here as we're talking about the train has left the station. And the reason I see a lot of value in what Dr. Stevens is talking about, because she's given a breakdown and explaining the big question that so many people have, all these ETFs, what's going on? I mean, it's funny how it seems like most people have short-term memory, not understanding what Bitcoin's went through until it finally got to where it's at now, how long it took. And also, people act like when Bitcoin ETFs came out, it was an immediate explosion. No. First of all, you're talking about two totally different assets. You can't even compare gold versus what XRP was created to do. But she's doing a phenomenal job of breaking down why the price hasn't moved, when we can expect the price to move, and the difference of how retail looks at XRP and institution. Totally different. She's dropping bars. Lock in. Shouts out to the real, what is real Matrix, Chicken 415, Jose Velasquez, the strategist. All you guys that are here today, appreciate you guys. Make sure you hit the like, subscribe, notification bell. Let's keep it going.
It's always behind the scenes, y'all. And those changes don't trend on social media, and they don't show up as these big green candles that make you feel excited. But they do matter more than the headlines, because once a system starts depending on an asset, the question isn't about it being interesting or not.
And that's what we were talking about, guys. I'm going to keep cutting it off as I have things pop up, but that's exactly what we were talking about. It's the things that are happening behind the scenes, the infrastructure, the dots being connected, all these different acquisitions. Ripple is playing a phenomenal game of chess. And there's many pieces of that game. There's many pieces. Just like we want so, and I joke around all the time. We want so desperately to hear BlackRock say XRP, like when Charles Gasparino and Larry Fink was talking, he says, what about an XRP ETF, Charles? I'm sorry, Larry, I can't answer that. Yes, you can. You don't want me to, all that kind of stuff. So this is not about getting us excited and getting us fuzzies all in our stomach so we can get, have results in our life. It's from the moment XRP came out, it was very, very clear that it was not created for retail. We have been blessed to be able to position ourselves with this asset that is going to change the financial system globally. Not here in the United States, not right here in Las Vegas, in certain parts, around the world. When you see things like, Brad Garlinghouse saying 14% of SWIFT, which there's been many people like Canary Capital CEO says that's a very, very conservative number. You've heard a lot of other people like Jake and many others say that's a very conservative number. She actually starts talking about, prices that we can get to and the time frames in which we can get to them. But it's so important to understand, guys, that this is not a rabbit race. This is connecting the dots carefully, right? Obviously, we have to see the Clarity Act. Obviously, we have to see regulatory, these institutions want to see regulatory clarity, but she's going to be talking about this and the different prices that we can see in the short term. Phenomenal work, Dr. Stevenson. Let's keep it going.
Comes what happens if this isn't available. And that's when behavior changes. And that's when positioning replaces speculation. And that's also when repricing becomes structural instead of emotional.
Facts.
And honestly, this is where a lot of people are getting frustrated because they're trying to evaluate system level changes with short-term tools. And if you've never studied how markets, liquidity, and infrastructure actually works, this can all feel counterintuitive. It feels slow and it feels disconnected from price, and it feels like you're missing something. When
it was like she said earlier, people keep looking at, first of all, crypto like the stock market. It is not. And you can get different variables of people, how, when people talk about market cap, and you've heard Zach Rector's done a phenomenal job in breaking that down and how it doesn't take, what people think it takes in order for the markets to move. But that part, the fact that it's not for retail and how she's explaining it, guys, it's so important. People get into space, especially those who are new and don't understand. That's why you see me always harp on going back and watching Fruition Productions. Go back and watch the early days of my interviews with Jimmy Valley and where we had on Dr. What was that doctor's name out of India? And we had the gentleman out of South Africa, and you guys got to go look at the XRP evaluation. He breaks down, they do such a great job of breaking down what is going to take to get to those numbers, even though they're throwing big numbers out there. And so I really like this by Dr. Stevenson, where she's really just getting into the nuts and bolts of what's going to help us get there.
And in reality, you're just looking at it from the wrong altitude. Right. Now, everything we're talking about, system design, liquidity, certainty, market behavior, this is not the kind of understanding that most people get from headlines or social media. Right. It comes from learning how markets actually function. Right. And that's why I'm constantly telling you to invest in Stock Up University. It's not all about the hype and all the signals. It's about building real market literacy and understanding cycles, reading structure, managing risk, and thinking at a higher level about money money in markets. I'm a big believer in learning the why behind the movements, not just reacting to them. So if you
We talk about that all the time. Learn the why. When you understand the why, everything else becomes clearer. The why. That's huge.
want that kind of foundation, there's a link in the description. Use my code before you sign up. All right, now I want to pull this all
Facts next for. She's about to go into that right now. Shouts out to my brother.
together in a way that really makes sense. When people talk about regulation or adoption, they usually imagine some perfect moment in the future where every rule is finalized, everything is crystal clear, and then finally things move. And that's not how real systems behave. Real systems don't wait for perfection. They move forward with certainty. When conditions are calm, certainty doesn't feel as urgent. You can afford to be patient. You can afford to optimize for costs, and you can afford inefficiency. But the moment stress enters the system, the priority changes. When something has to work, price stops being the deciding factor. Right. The question becomes what works reliably, what removes uncertainty, and what gets the job done without risk of failure. And the moment those questions take over, value gets reassessed immediately, not emotionally or speculatively, but structurally. This is why certain things can be repriced very quickly when the environment changes. And it's not because people suddenly believe in them, but it's because the system needs them. And that's the part people misunderstand when they ask, can XRP really be repriced? The answer isn't that it will. The answer is that it can under the right conditions.
Whoa, man, Dr. Stevenson dropping bars. Guys, make sure you hit the like, subscribe, notification bell. Shouts out. Let's make sure I didn't miss anybody here. Let's see. We got, I think I got everybody in here. Adam. What's up, Adam? Good to see you. I know. I want to see the fight. I know, brother. I'm going to have to watch it. I told my wife after. It's funny because I didn't even realize the fight was going on. I'm going to have to watch the replay of it, man. I know. I was looking forward to the Jake Paul and Joshua Howard. I think it's a Joshua Howard fight the whole time. And Jesus, man, I miss it. It's actually going on right now, which is probably what people are watching right now. I'll check it out that time. I'm going to have to watch the rerun. Damn it.
Here's the most important distinction. XRP does not need an emergency to succeed long term. Right. The future is still the future either way. But emergencies are the kind of environments that accelerate repricing, not create value out of thin air.
Okay, so now y'all are getting to me because I'm trying to lock in on the XRP right now, but y'all got my spidey senses. Is it a beatdown? Is Jake Paul getting his butt kicked? Because I mean, I don't know what I know they're gonna make a crazy amount of money on this. I know they're gonna make a crazy amount of money in this fight. But when you look at those two guys, man, it was like Ren and Stimpy fighting. It doesn't make any sense. I'm gonna have to check it out. You guys got my. Y'all can throw some comments in here. Who's losing if he gets knocked out? All right, let me get back to focus on XRP.
They expose which assets are optional and which ones are necessary. Right. If a system suddenly needs speed, finality, deep liquidity, and legal usability, and there are only a few tools that can provide that, those tools don't stay priced like conveniences. Right. They get repriced based on necessity and not hype. And this is why I'm careful with language here. I'm not talking about predictions. Right. I'm not talking about timelines. I'm not talking about guarantees. I'm talking about eligibility. XRP is eligible to matter when certainty becomes the priority.
Woo, boy, she dropping bars, huh? I'm not going to drop prices, but I'm going to tell you what reality is about. Oh, that's awesome. I love it. And she does give some price, not price prediction, but just some possibilities based off of certain things playing out.
And once you understand that, the conversation totally changes. And the question is not ringing in your head about, again, why isn't this price going to the moon? Right. But it's about what happens if the system suddenly needs what this asset was built to do. Exactly. Now, as you understand that, I want to talk about the last mistake that people make with XRP. And this isn't about how they see it.
I love how she put that. The price will move once it's adopted for what it needs to be utilized for what these institutions need it for. So, when you hear, again, and it kind of goes back to the flip of the switch and the train has left the station, everything's happening. All the I's are being dotted. All the connections are happening. All the acquisitions, everything is being put in place. But the actual use of the technology, that's what's going to move the price. Correct.
It's how they plan around it. Most people build a game plan based on what they think the asset is. If you think XRP is a trade, your game plan will be buy here, sell there, try to time it, hope you don't miss it. There's nothing wrong with trading. Let me just say that. But if that's the wrong category for the asset, then even a well-executed plan leads to the wrong outcome.
Facts.
Here's what most people are not realizing. Your game plan always aligns with your understanding of the end result. Right. If you don't understand what something is ultimately designed to become, you can't reverse engineer the right strategy. And that's why education matters so much here. Right. Once you understand XRP as a system asset, not a flip, the game plan changes. Now,
a system asset, not a flip. A system asset. That's why when you hear people like Jimmy Valley, Zach Rector, Lewis Jackson, Jake Claver does this as well. I mean, his price predictions are, again, based off of certain things still being implemented and obviously the use case of the actual asset itself. But when you think about what she's saying, guys, like this is a long-term play. And you hear a lot of people talk about how over the years this thing is going to continue to go up. That's why I get really excited about yield, right? Because once you're able to make money on this, and I know there's some people doing it now. I just saw something where Doppler Finance is connecting with, I think, SBI Asia Global or something like that, which was a bit shocking to me because, and I shouldn't say shocking. It just, I saw Doppler Finance, early on, but they're out of the country. Obviously, they're not supposed to be even marketing to people here in the United States. But once some of these systems are tested and, and obviously they can cater to the American public in a legal aspect, we have some type of protection, then I get it. I know Jake Claver is doing some things right now. I think for me, I'm just waiting to see how things are tested because I'm not in this to lose anything. I've talked to people on various, I'm not going to name where, and they've lost money. Right? They've lost money. They've lost XRP, and I'm not interested in that. So until things play out, to the point where there's something a lot more guaranteed. But yeah, I'm not going to risk my assets. I'm not going to risk, like they talk about loans and when you really, I had somebody explain it to me. I said, okay, well, explain. Not that I needed a loan, but please explain that to me because you could do this and you could take out, but it's a perfect example of like when XRP, for an example, went to $3 and some cents. And everyone was thinking, hey, it's going to go to $5, $10, $15. And, I'm not saying people didn't have success when they took out loans early using certain people's platforms and strategies. But if you got in at $3, you took that loan out, let's say $3.24 or I'm sorry, $3, 20, 30, 40 cents, and all of a sudden it dipped down by half, you're in a world of trouble unless you got that same amount of XRP to go back in. So it's a real tricky game, guys. And until it's not tricky, until it's certain things in place where people have protection, but right now, a lot of this early stuff, man, people are going to get wrecked. And I'm not saying everybody is, but I'm just saying I'm not willing to play up my future, with loans that could destroy you when the price has gone down like it has, or yield, which there is risk to those yields. And so, and I've asked very tough questions to people, long conversations, and been very blunt. Is there no risk? Oh, there's not any. There's always risk. Sorry, I'll talk to you when there's no risk. And so that's kind of where I'm at. But yeah, to each his own. To each his own. Shouts out to my beautiful queen, Jeanette's in the house. We're gonna get back to Dr. Stevenson here.
It's not just about selling. It's about optionality. It's about what one asset can eventually enable, using it as collateral, earning yield, borrowing.
Same thing I just said right now.
Against it, rotating it into cash flow businesses, diversifying without exiting, creating multiple income streams from a single base. Yeah. That's a completely different wealth framework. So instead of wondering, okay, when am I supposed to sell? You start wondering, how do I use this intelligently over time?
That's the part that's going to be a game changer for people. I think right now people are trying to figure, and that's why I made the video. I said a lot of people are going to miss the boat because they're going to be trying to figure out. And it's funny, I had this conversation with Mikkel, and we had talked about where price potentials could go, how people will exit, and how people think. And see, I think that's where the confusion is going to be. A lot of people are going to try to correlate their moves and their strategies based off of how traditional cycles work or based off of how it's moving currently with Bitcoin. But there's going to be a moment, and it may be a moment we don't know right off the back, there's going to be a moment where it's actually being implemented and utilized in conjunction with all these ETFs and XRP that's being locked up, that at some point the markets may dip and you look in, your strategy may, they're saying this is going to happen with Bitcoin, and based off the, Fibonacci retracement is going to tank and so will the rest of the market, and you're expecting a pullback. So you might take a profit of that XRP. Let's say it gets to $20 and you're thinking, well, it's going to retrace to 10. I'll pick back up there. And then it doesn't, because it's being implemented, it's being utilized, it's being adopted from an institutional standpoint for its utility. And so you see this asset maybe not, at some point it detaches itself and it's not correlated with Bitcoin in how it moves down. And then all of a sudden you're waiting for it to dip, but instead it goes the other way. And I was having this conversation with Mikkel. Shouts out to Mikkel for that. We had a long, amazing conversation about that, but that's where I think that I got you. A lot of people are going to get wrecked. I'm going to tell you, the only time I've never gotten wrecked is the whole saying, you never lose if you don't sell. Now, I'm not saying I haven't seen my assets go down 90%. Hell yeah. I'm not saying I haven't seen my portfolio go down 80, 90%. Hell yeah. But if you got 10,000 XRP and it went to the all-time, I wouldn't say the all-time high, because I think the all-time high was some time ago. But let's say it got to 340 something and it came down to half that, which is, let's say, $1.70 something. Did you lose anything? I mean, you lost, obviously, the total value of what, I wouldn't say loss. You didn't take profit off the table, but you haven't lost anything because you still got that 10,000 XRP. That same 10,000 XRP that's down right now, it maybe have gone from 100,000 down to 50,000. Well, guess what? If you hold and you turn back around and look in, 6, 12 months or whatever time frame, and then it's $1 million, and that's where I had to have the conversation with myself in trading. Oh my God, and I told you guys a story about Polkadot. Did the redenomination from 100 to 1. I went from $300 to $3. I went all in, damn near all in, and then that thing sprung up. I looked up and go, oh my God, I made 200-something thousand. But again, not having a strategy, pull money off. It wasn't as much as I thought it wasn't as much as it should have been. I got frustrated. It kind of capitulated, and boom, it took off. And then I started having that kind of, well, I'm not buying it at that price. Hell no, I got it at 3. I'm not buying it at 6. I'm not going back and buying it at 10. I'm not going back and buying it at 15. And then it wound up getting up to $56, $57. And so that strategy that I had, again, this is all about learning, guys. This is how I got to the point where I'm at now, and I've learned the things I've learned, and I talk about the things I talk about because I had to learn the hard way. That profit that I was, the profit I could have had versus the profit that I took wasn't even close to the profit I could have had if I would have waited. And we talked about it before, positioning and patience. Positioning and patience. I was positioned. I was positioned like a son of a gun, right? But I didn't have the right strategy. And had I waited, you're talking about a $1.something million mistake. Now, once we got to that 2021 boom, then it goes back into how I talk about have a strategic plan, do your research, control your emotions, and then what? Take profit. Because if I had utilized my 25-25-50, right, and obviously everything would have had to worked out perfectly, and took those profits, then I would have been sitting on just an astronomical profit based off of that when it got up to that $50-something, and then would have inserted or put it into something else. So definitely have to have a strategy. Alex Yeet is in the house. Good to see you, Alex. He says, I am waiting for at least $100 per XRP. I haven't hold my precious XRP for 7 years to sell at 3.5. No, refuse to sell. Yeah, but that's going back to what she says. I'm going to back it up a little bit. When she's talking about this yielding, guy, that's what I'm excited about, is the damn yield. The yield and being able to make the XRP. Can you imagine, like Alex Yeet said, or putting your asset to work, your XRP to work for you, or whatever assets you have to work for you, and then that's earning a yield. Now you don't got to worry about selling. It takes, look, if you're bringing in, $5,000 a month from your assets, $2,000 or $3,000 a month, you ain't worried about selling, because over time, that 5,000 will turn into 10. That 10 will turn into 15. That 15 will turn into 30. That 30 turn into 60. Now it's not going to continue to go up, but at the end of the day, you can obviously have a take profit strategy, or save, a lot of that yield and prepare for, those pullbacks and things like that, and reinsert some of that profit. So yeah, I definitely love what she's talking about on this. It says, my man Nesfor says, XRP on Flare. Yeah, I know a lot of, I saw, who was it? Paul Barron has been talking a lot about Flare and how that works and how it's different than wrapped XRP and all that kind of stuff. So I caught his video the other day on that. Shouts out to Alex Eat on that. Nesfor says the only way I could think of to make no risk gains is way down the road with an index fund tied to life insurance. It would have control ceiling info. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I think there's, and here's the thing when I talk about that risk, Nesfor, there's some things that are being offered out there that it's like trading, right? And again, not to name any particular thing, but there are risks associated with that, and you could get wrecked, you know. And I understand people trying to say, "Hey, we'll mitigate this and that," but I don't want my assets. Look, if I put my asset in a yielding situation, it's kind of like putting your money with the bank. I mean, you know, kind of get an example. If you were earning 5% on, you know, millions of dollars or hundreds of thousands, whatever, you know, it's not like they're saying, oh, there's a risk, right? Even if it's a smaller percentage, I'd rather take a smaller percentage than someone saying I can earn 10, 20, 30, 40, 50% or some crazy number like that. You know, there's risk associated with that for sure. All right, let's keep it going. We're going to go back to what she's talking about with yield.
XRP as a system asset, not a flip. The game plan changes. Now it's not just about selling, it's about optionality. It's about what one asset can eventually enable.
Optionality, earning.
Using it as collateral, earning yield, borrowing against it, rotating it into cash flow businesses, diversifying without exiting, creating multiple income streams from a single base.
And those are all things I'm very, very excited about. And I think there's a time as competition, see, because what happens, this is what I know, guys, when anybody is early to the game of offering yield and things like that, it's going to come with a certain level of risk. When people are early to the game of offering loans, you know, and that's why when it was explained to me, it sounded good. But here's what I'm really happy about. The person who explained it to me took the time to break down and said, look, 6-8, I want you to understand this because you need to be careful. One, on the trading, on the yielding aspect, and two, on the loan aspect. Because I was like, oh, that sounds kind of interesting. They said, well, you need to understand everything. And when they explained it to me, I said, oh, shoot, I don't want to, oh, hell no, I don't want to do that. So, you know, you just got to be very careful, guys. Not everything that sounds incredible is incredible, especially in the beginning. It's like anything else. And I talk about it as a person that used to have various businesses. One of my businesses was car lots. And I remember early in the days when the Hyundais, the very first, like the you know, the 90s or, you know, 91, 92, 93, those early Hyundais were pieces of crap. Now they're amazing. 100,000 mile warranty, they're incredible. But you never want to be in the very beginning stages of anything, especially before the clarity and the regulatory, you know, things were put in place, because, you know, you don't want to be the example. And especially with so many things that are out of the country. Like, oh, I could do this if I just go get a VPN. Man, there is no protection. So I'm just telling you guys, you work too goddamn hard to get here to let somebody steal it from you. Or say, oh, my bad. You can't apologize for losing my crypto. Hell no. So I'm just saying. I missed the dip yesterday. Is it too late? Gamify. Shouts out Gamify. We don't give financial advice, brother, but I can always tell you, I can tell you like, it depends on where you believe it can go. That's your answer.
That's a completely different wealth framework. So instead of wondering, okay, when am I supposed to sell? You start wondering, how do I use this intelligently over time? See, that's how institutions are thinking about this. That's how long-term wealth gets built. And that's why I spend so much time educating around this. Because if you can see the end picture clearly, you can work backwards and build a game plan that actually serves you. But if the end picture is wrong, even disciplined action won't get you where you want to go. Right. This isn't about telling anyone what to do, but it is about helping people understand what they're holding. Right. And when understanding changes, behavior changes. And that's how trajectories shift. That's how people stop reacting and start positioning. And that's how wealth gets built intentionally instead of accidentally. Right. Now, if this video helped you to see things more clearly.
This is not the one I was thinking about. There's one, and it might be this one over here, where she talks about Japan just ended the 30 years zero rate and broke the whatever this video is. But it's one of those videos where she starts talking about this is how, if it was going to get to $7 or $10 or $20 or $30. So I thought it was this video, but I guess it's not. So yeah, you guys might want to go back and check out some of her videos to get the one that I was actually talking about. That's not it though. So it could be this one here. So yeah, and actually, if you guys want to, you guys can go check out, I think it's Good Evening Crypto, or it could be Good Morning Crypto, one of the two, with Johnny Crypto and Abs, where they showed a video and she was actually explaining the different, you know, prices based off of the potential prices, not where it's guaranteed, but the potential prices based off of certain things being implemented. So make sure you guys go check that out. Can you explain more about the staking with your friend? Oh yeah. No. Well, here's the thing, Chicken 415. When I talk to owners like Jake Claver, if I talk to people in his company like Mikkel or Max Avery, or I talk to people like Caleb Brown, or I talk to people that are in those spaces, our conversations are private. And so it's just like when I mentor, I have people that I mentor, from celebrities to millionaires and everything else. And those conversations and the conversations that I have with them are different than things that I can talk about on this show. And so that's just what it is. But yeah, so, I give you what I can. I try to say what I can. I try to give you as much as I can without, sounding like a financial advisor, because I'm not. But that's what's so dope about Caleb Brown, right? You guys can get with Caleb Brown, that you can get opinions of people. If that's what you're looking for, they're able to do that. But most of what I do offline is private, and the conversations that I have, I always have to stay respectful to those private conversations, whether it's Zach, whether it's Mikkel, whether it's Jake Claver, whether it's Lewis Jackson, whether it's me and Jimmy Valley, whether it's, whoever it is, backdoor conversation with Linda P. Jones, Molly Elmore, whether it's whoever it is, I've got to be very, very careful to protect, those conversations. Or the one that had me do a whole video on it. I can't remember the damn video, but I was wilding out, crazy excited. And it's for somebody who's a multi-million-dollar, it might have been this one here. Bigger than we think. Yeah, I think it's bigger than we think. That one I was pretty amped up after having that conversation with the guy that watches over $40 billion. And he's heavily, not only is he a millionaire in life, but a millionaire in crypto, and knows or connected some people who have made some extraordinary purchases. $50 million invested in XRP at 50 cents, 125 or $150 million invested in XRP at 50 cents. So, elderly ladies that have 20 million XRP. It's so crazy stuff out there, but I definitely have to protect those conversations. So, all right, let's keep it going. Okay, let's keep it going. Here we go. Yeah, I agree. What am I talking about? President Trump says insurance companies are ripping off America. Guys, look, I don't know where you're at, but me and my wife were just talking about this to somebody. I think it was my sister-in-law that was down. Insurance. I know insurance out here in Vegas is ridiculous, and people are kind of crazy out here in Vegas. I'm not gonna lie. I never thought I'd say that, but people out here have tempers when they drive, and I think any place that you can, most people, I think Vegas is like Texas. Everybody can carry. All you need to do to have a gun is a driver's license. So, or to buy a gun at least. To carry, you have to have a CCW. But a lot of people are armed, and a lot of people just road rage and everything. So I can probably understand why it's a little high, but I do agree with this, regardless of all that. Insurance companies are definitely ripping people off. That's for sure. Slowly than all at once. This is a son of a Richard. Okay, god dang, that's a lot of reading. Holy crap. Oh my gosh. Okay, okay, it says appeared versus rejected. Here's what changed for XRP. Again, breaking but not loud, important, not hyped. Another quiet filing just hit the SEC. Another quiet filing just hit the SEC. This time, KURV ETF Trust. I never heard of that. KURV ETF Trust. On December 19th, which is today, KURV filed a Form N1A post-effective amendment for a new product, KURV XRP Enhanced Income ETF, alongside a familiar Ether version. This is not a spot ETF. This is not leverage. It's an options-based income ETF built to generate yield using XRP-linked derivatives. Wow. Wonder who could have filed that. Who filed that one? Yield. Uh-oh. Wait a minute. That got something to do with Domino's, guys? I don't know. I know they were talking about something with yield. Here's the simple analogy. Owning XRP is owning the house. A 3X ETF is borrowing money to bet on the house price. An income ETF is renting the house out and collecting cash flow. Okay. You don't build rental products on houses you think might collapse. Facts. What matters here isn't the product, it's the assumption underneath it. To launch this, the system must believe XRP derivatives are reliable. Pricing is stable enough for options. Clearing and settlement work. Counterparties can manage the risk. That's why this shows up after CME XRP derivatives go live. That's why it shows up alongside of leverage ETF filings. A few weeks ago, certain XRP leverage products appeared and were rejected. Too much risk, wrong timing. Now, granted, shares, it looks like plus 3x XRP ETFs are set effective December 30th. KURV is filing income ETFs that sell volatility. No stop orders, no objections. Silence, which is how permission shows up. This isn't about price, it's about risk tolerance changing. Leverage ETFs mean volatility is tolerated. Income ETFs mean volatility is monetized. Okay. You only see, God dang, what is that? Damn that fly my thing. You only see both when an asset is no longer treated as experimental. Holidays or not, the work continues. Eyes on open interest, eyes on clearing, eyes on hidden road. Read filings, not vibes. The blueprints are public. Now where to look. Know what to read. I'll do the work for all of us. Let's dig in together. Let's advance the conversation together. Smarter together. So here you go right here. KURV ETF Trust. File. Hey, that thing just kind of came out of nowhere, didn't it? I didn't hear about this. That's crazy. Okay. Shouts out to son of a Richard for putting that out. Sounds good. Let's see how it plays out. Tom Lee says Bitcoin to hit new high in January. Tom Lee says this and Tom Lee says that. Let's see how the damn thing plays out. Liquidity building up to the upside. The liquidity heat map shows large clusters building above 90,000. Bitcoin as the market leans heavily on short. Will we see a short squeeze soon? Where's Bitcoin at now? 88. See if we can pop and stay above that 91 and some change. All right, guys. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go down to where I left off and continue from there, which is why we did this second show. Okay. Never be jealous. Never be intimidated. Never be in competition. You got your own blessings. Ooh, I like that. Never be jealous. Never be intimidated. Never be in competition. You have your own blessings. That's a fact. Fear and greed index, guys, is crazy. I like this one. What emotion is driving the market? It says, I don't give a F and care anymore. I said, at this point, who cares? Stay locked in. Enjoy the ride. Enjoy the process. I love seeing people happy and doing well. Life is meant to be lived, not just survived. That's a fact. It's starting to look a lot like Christmas in December. You're damn straight, It's crazy. But things are projected to change going into 2026 as we had a couple little hiccups that put us out 60 days worth of turmoil that should put us up within that January, February, Q1 of 2026. Maybe you haven't gotten what you wanted yet because you deserve more. I agree with that. XRP Alternatives Chainlink signals better asset. This changes everything for XRP. Banks and institutions are positioning for XRP integration. Let's check it out. Okay, what to know? Bitcoin commentator Lark Day. Okay, I like Lark. Argued Chainlink is better asset than XRP. Okay, my like for Lark just went down. Citing Chainlink's broader utility across. Okay, let's just move on. A debate is brewing amongst crypto analysts regarding the long-term prospects of XRP versus Chainlink. See, it's hard for me to take people like Lark's opinion when you got very educated people. And I like Lark, just like I liked early on Da Vinci J, right, until he started hating on. And it's not that I like him less, I still respect him. How about that? It's kind of like people who were fans of Trump and they was like, well, I don't like him as much as the president. Hey, let the man do his thing. But at the end of the day, I think that's kind of what it is. You have these people who are extreme maxis. And Lark does, veer off into different assets, but they definitely have a biased approach when it comes to XRP. To be so smart yet to act like they know nothing. The comments highlight different approaches. XRP focuses on institutional adoption within the ecosystem, while Chainlink aims to be neutral infrastructure. The debate matters to institutional investors assessing the long-term potential of XRP and the impact of Ripple's strategy. Okay, so it's, let's see. Yeah, okay, this is just a bunch of jibber jabber. You guys are interested in reading it, go ahead, knock yourself out. No, I'm not. Okay, don't let them scare you out of the life-changing opportunity you have with crypto. That's a fact. And I don't mean just I mean whatever crypto you've done your research and you believe in, there's gonna be more than one. There's gonna be several winners. Not as many as people think, but there's gonna be several winners. And I mean several, like, yeah. If you're talking about tens of thousands of altcoins, just think like 98% won't survive. That's a fact. I'm not the one to say I'm gonna just leave that alone. I'm heard somebody, but what about mine? I don't know. Okay, big move. Just I tell people all the time, man. I used to have at one point in my I had I could show screenshots of what I had. I mean, so many things. You know, when I did my 70-20-10, and then I started consolidating and start going from let's say I had 100 assets. I would look at number 100 and compare it to number 1, and I kept going down until I consolidate down into what I have now. And I shouldn't say that that's not true, because I consolidated until I had like 20 strong ones, 10 strong ones, and then, yeah, there you go. They always say you could be a master of too many things, and then you become a master of nothing. That's a fact. Isn't Trump crazy? Isn't it crazy Trump bankrupt 6 times his casino? Are we crazy to think he would be good for everyone's entitled to an opinion, my brother. You know, we can all, as a family, we don't have to agree on everything. At the end of the day, is a cloud less darker and gloomy than it was under the last administration? I'm gonna say so. I don't feel like I'm living in Sodom and Gomorrah. As a father, as a husband, as a son, everyone's gonna have different perspectives. That's why I don't really like talking about, because you can have a lot of love for somebody. I've had, I've sat down with people's. Like me and Mike, we have different, and I'm not even gonna get into our personal things, but we have different, we have very similar opinions about certain things, and then certain people tied to us may have different opinions, and then when you can have a beautiful dinner, and all of a sudden certain things come to me and it just messes the whole conversation up. So I try to stick to, I try to give my opinions based off of certain things. I told you guys before, I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. I'm just a person who wants the best for my family, for this country, that gives people opportunity to. And I'm gonna tell you right now, it was just I don't like all the wokeism stuff that was going on, all the nasty, evil Sodom and Gomorrah, just nastiness that was going on with the last administration. That now you're starting to see getting cleaned up. And so, is one side perfect? Hell no. Hell no. This old thing I remember saying, reading back in there, says nobody's perfect, but some of us are closer than others. And I think that's in that analogy it does. I'm not saying that about me, but not all situations are perfect, but some situations are better than others. And I think that's the way I'll leave it. How about that? Shakaka. Shouts out to my man Anthony. Okay, big move for XRP Ledger. The XRP Ledger has surged into the top 6 most popular blockchain ecosystem in 2025, according to CoinGecko. Damn, okay. XRP Ledger is surging. I like surging. Surging sounds good to me. Small efforts lead to big changes. I agree with that. Meet one of our Shikaka coins, since Anthony brought it up. Head ambassadors, Dave Adams, with his Shikaka coin, little tank top and coffee. Just super cool dude. Actually, one of the dudes who set this whole thing up for me. When I told him, I said, hey, man, I think I'm going to finally go live. And that was some years ago. And he said, hey, give us a credit card. Him and Josh set it all up for me. And I wouldn't have any of this without them. I would never have figured it out on my own. So shouts out to Dave and Josh. And the Shikaka coin family. Look at this dude is rocking shit. All he needs is like a Shikaka nose ring, and he'd be good to go. The CPI, much love to Dave. The CPI data was most bullish. The CPI data was most bullish. Was the most bullish, I think is what I meant to put, we have had in a few years, but still we are dumping. The manipulation is real. That's a fact. I couldn't agree more. The manipulation is real. This is earlier. This is insane level of manipulation. This is from Bull Therapy. CPI came in lower than expected. On the bullish CPI news, Bitcoin pumped $2,217 from 87,260 to 89. Like, man, all this crap, all these numbers was just manipulation. That's a fact, because they use that to liquidate everybody in their longs and shorts. It went from 87,260 to 89. 477 in just 60 minutes. Man, they just wrecked folks in just a matter of an hour. 70 billion added to the crypto market. 94 billion worth of shorts liquidated. Wow. 10 a.m. So that was 8:30 a.m. At 10 a.m., the manipulation starts. Bitcoin dropped $3,723 from 89 down to 85 in the next 90 minutes. 117 billion erased from the crypto market cap. 100 million worth of longs liquidated. Yeah, this is nothing more, and I said it before, than a money grab. These guys are they're doing whatever they want to do until they can't. So as long as there's a gray area, they are manipulating the hell out of the market. And I don't know why people would want to try to leverage. Like whoever put in that, where are we at right now? The guy who put in that short, I mean, I know he's got to be sick right now, because if you look at it, he put in a short for like, what was it, 99 million or some crazy junk like that. And let's see where we're at right here. So all time, let's go 24 hours. Yeah, this guy's got to be sick, because unless we drop, if we go up, I think the number was 89,100, he gets liquidated. That's a dangerous game to be playing. Dangerous game. XRP is positioned to take over the world. I do agree with that. XRP is strategically positioned to take advantage of the reserve carry trade. That's for sure. Some people come into your life as blessings. Some come into your life as lessons. That's a fact. We need clarity. David Sachs comes out and says, we had a great call today with Chairman Senator Tim Scott and John Boozman, who confirmed that a markup for clarity is coming in January. Where is it? What was this? Yesterday? Yesterday, okay. Thanks to their leadership, as well as French Hill, Republican French Hill, okay, and Congressman Glenn J.T. Thompson in the House, we are closer than ever to passing the landmark crypto market structure legislation that President Trump has called for. We look forward to finishing the job in January. Damn, that'd be bullish as hell. Bring it, baby, bring it. Binance, guys. Now, did I read this yesterday? I don't think so. Binance XRP reserves are draining slowly. I actually did read a variation of that. I did read this. Didn't I? I did. Yeah, I don't know. Did I read this earlier today? The best way to prove haters, doubters, and those who never supported you wrong is not to get mad, but instead win. Win, 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 win. There's a song that I put up in there. Win, win, win. That bothers the haters and all those guys more than anything else. To those who said I wouldn't end up being, you know what? Win. And the reason I put these 4 pictures up, because you're talking about a kid who thought he was going to be a football player. Parents never came to a game, never had that type of support. I thugged it out and became something, and ended up being, most valuable player, one of the top freshmen, literally almost led my team to a national title, just defying odds, to, making, hundreds of thousands of dollars for speaking, to marrying my better half, my queen, my soulmate, and then obviously finding crypto, which is when we left California, ended up in Hawaii because of crypto, 100,000% because of crypto. So, I just love to find the odds. And this is not to brag. This is going back to what it says. The best way to prove the haters wrong. I've been hated and doubted my whole life. Throwing me in here, left me behind, doing this, doing that. The best way is not to get, I told you, none of that. No, just win. Win, 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 win. Facts. All right, let's move on. Avoiding risks feels smart until years pass and you realize you've built a life around fear. Damn. Avoiding risk feels smart until years pass by and you realize you've built a life around fear. Damn, oh man, this is crazy. I know a lot of folks like that. Talented folks too, just scared to take risks. Crazy. It's crazy because I remember people I talked to when I got into crypto, I wasn't a secret agent. I know a lot of you guys are probably like that. Thank you, Anthony. Much love to you, brother. I always give you guys a quick version, but man, if y'all knew some of the crap I had to go through, man, oh Lord. But going back to this right here, it's funny because I know a lot of you guys have had moments like this where you've tried to help people. Damn, it's getting hot in here. I'm going to take this damn thing off. But where you tried to help people in crypto, right? You tried to help, when I got into crypto, I wasn't a secret agent. I literally just reached out to anybody and anybody I could talk to in my circle, from a friend perspective to relatives, and it's funny because the majority of the people I reached out to aren't even doing it. It's crazy. And I can even think of the 5 people that went to Spain with me, because when I went to Spain, they said, bring your friends. Maybe one is still involved, right? So, have you ever heard those stories of people who saw Bitcoin and didn't react, or knew about Bitcoin back in the day and didn't react? Out of the 5 people that went to Spain with me, I can only think of maybe one that might still be involved, and that's no. There's one that is definitely involved. That's right. My man, yeah, my real estate millionaire buddy, he's still involved for sure. He's still involved. But when I think about, he's heavily involved actually. But when I think of maybe two of the 5, now that I think about it, one guy might still be involved as well, but I haven't talked to him. But when I think about family and friends, like when I got in this, I wasn't a secret agent. I was trying to tell everybody that I could about crypto. But the reason that a lot of people aren't here, because it wasn't easy. It was very volatile. It was very hated. And it's hard, man, to try to get somebody to understand how to take $1,000 or 5,000, whatever they, might have 500,000, whatever, and put it into something that hated. Back in 17, man, it wasn't a lot of support for crypto. You had some people that had made, there was some hype around Bitcoin, but then obviously it fell down from, if you remember in 17, it went from like 19 and some change. It didn't crack. I don't think it quite cracked 20 grand. And then it went down and went down. And obviously from 17 to 19, it was volatility. And then you saw it go to 35 when the whole COVID thing hit. So it scared the crap out of people. I get it, man. Like I don't sit here and talk like, oh, people, like there were people who tried. But I watched people panic, man, just panic and like, I'm done. And then some of them turned back around and understood what they missed, because the question you would always get, are you still in it? And I'm like, yeah, I kind of hang in there. And it was, I'm not gonna lie, it was a rough patch for all of us. But, and I told you guys, I took a beating in 17 and then stepped back. It was like, man, this is crazy. And just had to come with a different approach. And so, but yeah, there's going to be a lot of people like that, guys. A lot of people. Where we at here? Spot XRP ETFs cross 1 billion in cumulative inflows as BTC ETFs struggle from macro uncertainty. XRP ETF related flows also diverge from those of Bitcoin related ETFs on Monday, with Bitcoin leak. Look, you know what's so funny, guys? I think for anybody having a problem right now with pricing, and look, I don't give a damn who you are. You can try to act like you're, I see people try to, I ain't tripping. You like, look, everybody tripping, right? Because even though I know what I hold, what irritates me is manipulation. I hate it. Like, just like I hate bullying. I can't stand bullying. And when people are bullying the market and they're doing it from a position of what's in the best interest of them, not us. It's never been about us, right? That's the part that pisses me off, because I know that XRP should be, I'm not trying to say it should be $100, but it should damn be more than what it is now. That's for a damn fact. There is no reasons for Bitcoin to be moving the way it's moving. They've been manipulating this damn thing since October. That's a fact. After that little spike that they went up to 126, after that, it was wreck city. That's a fact. So that's the part that irritates me with everything. Not the volatility, not the fact that it's going up and down. Damn it, I shouldn't have done that. Let me get back. So if you guys get a chance, man, go over and definitely check out Dr. Kamala Stevenson, not just on what I've posted, or what Abs and Johnny Crypto over Good Morning, Good Evening Crypto, but go over and look up the young lady on YouTube, and she's putting out some really extraordinary content. And what I like about it compared to other people who are, and there's some brilliant minds, but sometimes you don't want to hear people say, it's going to 1,000, it's going to this, it's going to that. Sometimes, and even though it's educated, and I'm not trying to talk crap, because I'm not going to sit here and try to act like just because we only got, how many days we got left? 12 days left? Even with some of the predictions that like Jake put out, no, it just, sometimes you like hearing people talk because Jake speaks from a very educated perspective. And that's why I got a lot of love for my brother, but it's good. She does a very good job of just breaking down the fundamentals and addressing what she understands where most people's mindset is at right now. Where's the price? What's going on? Da, 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 da. So she's coming more from a teaching. And yeah, I know she offers her, and I don't even know what her, so I'm not going to, I do think that some of these patrons and things like that are educating people. Like I've heard that Jake's, I've heard Fuma Boy, Zeddy say that Jake's mastermind class is very amazing. incredible, as far as information and the connections you make. I've heard that from several people. I've heard that Dr. Kamalia Stevenson has a phenomenal group. So yeah, just to each his own. I don't think you can ever have enough information. Yeah, and I think for a lot of people like myself, I think some people always be willing to learn. I just think certain people don't need A, B, and C when we're probably QRS, like towards the end of the alphabet of learning. But because things make sense faster because what I do is I do a lot of research off screen, and it helps me come up with my own evaluation of where I think it's going. I'll listen to Jake, I'll listen to Dr. Stevenson, I'll listen to other people and other people's perspectives, do my research, and then go back and validate the things that they're saying, whether it's a post from Smoke or something that Jimmy Valley says or something that David Schwartz is claiming, whatever it is. And the one conclusion that I came up with, guys, is that we're sitting on possibly the greatest opportunity of our lifetime. And there's a lot of assets that'll get you there, but the asset that was bullied the most, I believe, is going to shine the brightest. That's a fact. That is a fact. And that's not financial advice. Okay, I think we're done, right? Did I go through all this? I feel like I probably talked about some of this. I know I talked about damn Charles. Oh, wait, no. Okay, it's down here. Okay, let's see. Shouts out to my beautiful queen. Okay, I think that's it, right? No. I go through all this morning. I can't remember. Where we at? Over an hour already? Okay, I like this. David Sachs talks about the Clarity Act will reach Senate next month. Let's read into this. White House AI and Crypto Caesar or Czar. David Sachs said the Clarity Act will reach the Senate next month for debate and amendment before a full vote. Okay. The long-awaited Digital Asset Market Clarity Act, or Clarity Act, is moving closer to law, man, with a Senate markup expected in January. The White House Artificial Intelligence and Crypto Czar, David Sachs. Sachs posted on X on Thursday that that Senate Banking Committee Chair Tim Scott and Agriculture Committee Chair John Boozman had confirmed that the bipartisan crypto bill will be shaped up by the Senate next month. Damn. We are closer than ever to passing the landmark crypto market structure legislation that President Trump has called for. We look forward to finishing the job in January. That's going to be awesome. So this is a post right here where he talked about that. The Clarity Act would define crypto securities and commodities and clarify the roles of the Security and Exchange Commission, which is a SEC, the Commodities Future Trading Commission, which is a CFTC, and other financial regulators. Backers to the bill say it will reduce regulatory uncertainty for crypto firms by establishing clearer compliance pathways and encourage innovation while strengthening investor protections. Oh, wow. Movement of the Clarity Act has been slower than expected, with Senator Cynthia Lummis having predicted in September that the Clarity Act would get to President Donald Trump's desk for his signature before the end of 2025. The delays have largely been attributed to the record 43-day U.S. government shutdown. Okay, yeah, kind of what I was saying before, across October and November. However, the U.S. regulators met with executives from Coinbase, Ripple, come on, BG, Circle, and others during that time to ensure the momentum of the bill doesn't stall. Sachs Post had confirmed earlier reports that the Senate markup would be pushed into the new year. The House passed the Clarity Act in July, and the Senate markup will debate the potentially amend the bill. Senate markup will debate and potentially amend the bill before it's sent to the full chamber for a vote. All right, good stuff. You guys want more information on that? You guys can check it out. The right people multiply your energy. The wrong people drain it. Choose wisely, and who gets the most of your time. I agree with that. That's facts. Don't let temporary pullbacks make you lose focus. Stay locked in. That's a fact. That's what, when you hear people say they're trying to shake you out. Whether that's true or not, whether they're purposely trying to shake people or they're just doing things that typically does shake people out, however you want to look at it. Okay, we're not going to go there. Always be true to you. That's for sure. Talking about Bitcoin flashing at the Golden Cross. Where is this at right here? So this is about 83,000. We actually popped just above that. So, hey, it's very possible that we've gone into this Golden Cross. So, yeah, what does it say here? Bitcoin has just experienced its fifth golden cross, a technical signal historically followed by a significant price rallies, even though the market sentiment currently remains low and skeptical. Previous golden crosses were followed by strong price advantages of 87%, 47%, 78%, and 33%. So you guys see this back. So where could this go? We'll see. Damn. Even if it gets, some of these, kind of wicked up to the box, to the top of the box line. So, I mean, they're trying to say what 170. I think I've seen this before. They talked about like upwards towards 175,000. Creating higher highs and higher lows, baby. Name of the game. Okay, never ever quit. That's a fact. Analysts say you won't be able to buy XRP. Did I read this? How long was this? What was this? I feel like I read this December 18th. No, because I didn't go live yesterday. Analysts say you won't be able to buy XRP again if you plan to sell now and buy back later. Damn, that's kind of what I was talking about with Mikkel. That's crazy. Let's read into this. Okay, who's the market? First of all, let me see who's the market. Okay, did I read this already? That's level bear sentiment in 6 months. I'm trying to figure out. Okay, I don't think I read this. XRP has collapsed with the rest of the crypto market, leading to losses for investors who held past the 3.66 market, $3.66 peak in July 2025. Today, XRP is down over 48% from that peak as it currently trades for $1.90. Try like 80 something. At this price, XRP has dropped 37.5% in the past 3 months, on track to record a third consecutive monthly loss for the first time since late 2022. With the bearish pressure dominating the scene and XRP losing the pivotal $2 support, market sentiments have slumped. In October, when the ongoing downtrend had just begun, market analytics resource Sentiment found that XRP was already facing the highest level of bear sentiment in 6 months. Okay. You may not be able to buy XRP back. Damn. Notably, such bearish sentiments often lead to retail sell-offs as investors without conviction take to selling off their bags out of panic. I just don't know if that's enough to move, because you got to understand what retail actually holds. We don't hold a substantial amount of XRP. I don't know. Okay, let me finish reading this. As investors without conviction take to selling off their XRP bags out of panic. Moreover, some market participants may adopt, because you got to think, the way I think about it is this: people who have huge bags have made extraordinary money, right? So if you've had 500,000 to a million XRP from 50 cents till now, I mean, you're still way up, right? And there's people who've got 5 million, 10 million, 20 million. So I just don't think somebody who has over 500,000 XRP or more that's on that top echelon of XRP rich list, I can't see them panic selling when they've held this long, understanding what's in place, understanding all the things that Ripple and XRP has in place and how literally everything right now favors this asset. So then who's selling? Smaller bags? And small bags don't really move the market. So I don't know about that one. Moreover, some market participants may adopt the strategy of divesting their holding amid the current market uncertainties and re-entering the market when the dust settles. Unknown DLT, an anonymous XRP community commentator, has warned that such investors, especially those planning to buy back, may never get the opportunity again. This is what me and Mikkel talked about, and also me and Jake talked about. According to the latest commentary, one of his latest commentaries, one reason why these individuals find it difficult to repurchase their XRP tokens is an impending liquidity crisis, which is what we talked about. I think it was earlier today or today. Specifically, such a liquidity crisis could ensue in a situation where the available supply of XRP on public exchanges become too low for the competing investors looking to procure the token. While this could directly lead to, so this is in correlation to what we talked about earlier, either earlier today or earlier in the show. I think it was earlier today when we talked about how, I think it was that Binance read. And if you guys don't know, go back and watch the show where they were talking about how XRP right now is becoming very scarce on Binance, the biggest exchange in the world. And in that segment, we were talking about conversations I've had, and some people have talked about this publicly, including Claver and others, where there could be a supply shock, right? Because obviously with Ripple becoming a national charter bank, they got to hold so much. With the Clarity Act, they'll only be able to hold 20%. The other XRP they have could be utilized or distributed based off of what some of the NDAs that they have in place with, big players like BlackRock and others. So, when you really look at this all together, and then ETFs buying off OTC, but what happens when that drain? It could, drain liquidity out of exchanges. So I definitely understand all this. While this could directly lead to large price swings, it may also make it difficult for investors to amass as much as they want, except they bid for a higher price. So that's, I've had some really intriguing conversations, like I said, with Jake and Mikkel, and I do believe, because I've heard it from multiple people, not only on their side, but from other places where you sell, you have a plan, and then you can't get it. And I think that's going to be, to me, one of the most sickest things ever is when you can't access it. And we haven't seen that. You can still access Bitcoin just at ridiculous numbers. I mean, ridiculous numbers. So, I remember hearing stories of people who, what is that? Full moon, January 3rd. Interesting how, yeah. Dang, 500,000. Yeah, there's people who, anyway, I know you have 500,000. I know several people who have, at least that much. But, I think when I think about this, like right now, I mean, I've heard stories, when me and my wife first got in, we were in Hawaii, before we left Hawaii, but I met some people in Hawaii who had, in the early days, massive amounts of Bitcoin. I mean, like a lot of Bitcoin. And even in the early days, they had 500,000 worth of Bitcoin, like when it was cheap, and had to sell because of financial responsibilities. And the crazy thing, that there are stories of people who had like 1,300 Bitcoin, but by the time they came back to buy it, they couldn't even afford to buy 10. That's the part I think is going to shock a lot of people, where. And again, this is not to I'm not a financial advisor. This is not to create FUD or panic, but there's going to be people, and I've seen it happen, man. I've seen it. I lived it. I literally lived it, where there's a time I had, like some ungodly amount of polka dot, like whatever it was. I can't remember the damn number. Let's say 50,000 polka dot. But then when it went up to $57 and I sold, I could never get that 50,000 polka dot back, right? So, I mean, obviously now I can, but the point I'm trying to make is at that time when it went to 57, it's like, that different. It's kind of like Bitcoin, right? Like people are talking about. So I think shifting it back to XRP, there's people who probably could have afforded, maybe, because there's a lot of people who waited years, and a lot of people forget that. There's people who waited years for XRP to get back to $3 and some cents so they could break even. I remember stories like that. And so people might have got out and broken even, and then it's down. Maybe they rebought, or there's people who, like they're saying, have taken profit, and in their mind, I'm going to get it when it goes lower, and that might not play out now. The conversation me and Mikkel were having was what happens when it gets to $20-something, and you think it's going to go back down to 15, but it doesn't. Yeah. And so people may get back in, but for less of what they had. I've heard people talk about that with other coins. Yeah. I'm babbling on. I'm sorry, guys. It's drawing up conversations I've had with people. So I think that's the thing. Like if you might have 5,000 XRP, 10,000, 1,000 XRP now, and that might not be the case, right? As people get priced out, and then you might find yourself in a position where you get, I'm gonna go back in because something. And I think that I've seen that happen where people, they have more of the asset early on. And then they're like, man, I just need to take money out for whatever, or just doubt or whatever it is, or maybe strategy, which is nothing wrong. Hey, God bless you. Everybody has their own story. And then it takes off, and then you try to go back in, but you've got a fraction of what you held. And that, to me, is going to continue to happen, right? Yeah, let's move on. While this could directly lead to large price swings, okay, I already read that. Due to their sufficient liquidity, no mainstream crypto asset has experienced such a situation at scale across multiple exchanges. However, unknown DLT believes that it may happen with XRP, citing the crypto's assets' touted role in the yen carry trade unwind in Japan. I'm not going to get into all this. Okay, damn it. Not going to get to it. All right, if you guys want more information on it or want to read that, make sure you guys go check it out in our thread here on our page. Let's see. Yeah, I do agree that crypto investors are getting tested right now. That's for sure. It's kind of going back to what Dr. Stevenson just talked about, which just says Pantera Capital's 2025 outlook is clear. This wasn't about price; it was about structure. Facts. Pro crypto structure. Yeah, I feel like I read this already. All right. I don't think I'm going to get out of here, guys. Hour and a half. That's enough of that. All right, guys. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. We're going to get up out of here. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. It's probably more I can talk about, but it's enough. Enough is enough. I'm going to go eat some din and relax. It's my second show. So appreciate you guys. Love you guys. I don't even think I played Tales today, have I? Ain't no show unless we play Crypto Tales. Let's play it all the way through. How about that? You guys deserve it. Crypto for life. Chicago Coin Family. XRP Army. Greatest family on planet Earth. EARF. I have no coffee. I'm actually drinking water, which is why you probably see my thing. I'm a little more calmed down. My eyes a little bit. It's like crackhead coming off a coffee crack. Let me stop. But we're going to play this all the way through. No stoppage. Let's do it.
This one, does it like it is. Got them switching gears, new Ferrari with the 10s. On some bullish.
Music. So greatest family on planet Earth. I appreciate you guys in a major way. We got Anthony. I'm gonna get banned for a song that I'm not even playing. What the hell? How the hell that come on? That was just the weirdest damn thing ever. Shouts out to Anthony Wanner. We got Chicken 415 in the house. We've got Bullet Bird. Anthony the Man, the Myth, the Wanner up in here. Make sure you guys go check out Chicago. You damn straight. Big Bro 10 in the house. Good to see you, sis. That's my sister. Chicken 415. Much love to you. Nest Force in the house. We got Alex Yeet. What's up, Alex? Game 5 101 is in the house. Good to see you, my brother. Anybody else? We've got the strategist in the house. Big Bro 10, my beautiful queen, Jeanette. Jeffy Dahmer's up in the house, huh? What is Real Matrix? Good to see you, my brother. Nest Force. Shouts out to my brother, Nest Force. Jose in the house. Anthony the Man, the Myth, the Wanner. Marvin Davis up in here. Adam is in the house. What's up, Adam? Huh? Adam in the house. Shouts out, my brother. I know I'm going to go watch the fight right now. Crypto Trooper 22 is in the house. Who have we got? I can smell the wife in there cooking some din-din. Smell that din-din. Got me off the stream. Fishing with Camo Joe in the house. Marvin Davis. Guys, I appreciate you guys. Love you guys. Thank you guys so much. Nina Blossom, Lions Daniel. Shouts out. Oh, man. Best show on planet Earth, brother. Much love to you, my man. Thank all you guys for your support. Crypto for Life, Chicago Coin Family, XRP Army. Enjoy your day. We'll see you guys mañana. Until next time, it's your boy James, a.k.a. 68J. God bless and peace. Greatest family on planet Earth. EARF. Yeah.